I used to think being watched was something that only happened in movies, something dramatic, something obvious. I was wrong, because the person watching me wasn't hiding in the woods, he wasn't parked outside my house, and he wasn't a stranger passing by. He lived right next door. For months, I had no idea. Every morning, I'd leave for work. Every night, I'd come home. And the entire time, someone was learning my routine. Learning when I slept, when I left, when I was alone. The worst part wasn't finding out he'd been watching me. It was finding out how long he'd been doing it, and why he suddenly stopped. The police later told me something about that man that I still can't forget. I moved to Whitmore Avenue in the spring of last year. Small street, quiet neighborhood. The kind of place where people keep to themselves but still wave from driveways. The house next door was a gray two-story, slightly older than the others on the street. The garden overgrown, just enough to feel neglected, but not abandoned. Someone lived there. I just didn't know who, not for the first 3 weeks. My neighbor introduced himself on a Tuesday evening. I was carrying groceries inside when I heard the gate open. He was tall, thin in a way that made him look slightly too long for his own body. Late 50s, maybe. Gray eyes that didn't quite focus on you the way normal eyes do. They focused just slightly past you, like he was looking at something standing directly behind you. He said his name was Gerald. He said he'd lived next door for 11 years. He said he hoped I'd be comfortable on Whitmore Avenue. And then he smiled. I can't fully explain what was wrong with that smile. It wasn't threatening exactly. It was just too deliberate. Like someone who had practiced smiling in a mirror for a very long time, but still hadn't quite gotten it right. I thanked him, went inside, locked the door, and tried to convince myself that I was being unreasonable. The first time I noticed him watching, I told myself it was coincidence. It was around 11 p.m. on a Thursday. I got up to get water from the kitchen. The kitchen window faces directly onto the street. And as I stood there in the dark, I saw him, Gerald, standing at his upstairs window, completely still, facing my house. No lights on behind him, just his silhouette, dark against darker. I told myself he was probably just looking outside. Couldn't sleep. Completely normal. I went back to bed. Didn't think about it again. Until the following Thursday. Same time, same window, same silhouette. I stood there in my dark kitchen, and I watched him watching me for 4 full minutes. He didn't move, not once. I closed the blinds and didn't open them again after dark for 2 weeks. Week 3. I made a decision. I started keeping track. Every night before bed, I would stand slightly to the side of my bedroom window, hidden, and I would check. Monday night, he was there. Tuesday night, there. Wednesday, there. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every single night. Same window, same stillness, same silhouette facing my house in the dark. I started timing it. He appeared between 10:50 p.m. and 11:10 p.m. every single night without exception. And he stayed there for exactly 1 hour. Not 50 minutes. Not an hour and 10. 1 hour, every night, like clockwork, like the ritual. I considered confronting him, knocking on his door and asking him directly what he was doing. But something stopped me. Something I couldn't name. An instinct deep in my chest that said very quietly, "Don't let him know that you know." Month 2. I started researching Gerald. It wasn't easy. He had almost no digital footprint, no social media, no public records I could access easily. It was like he barely existed on paper. But I found one thing. A local newspaper archive, 7 years old. A small article, 3 paragraphs, about a missing woman. Her name was Caroline Marsh, 34 years old. Reported missing by her family after she stopped returning calls. The last known address listed in the article was Whitmore Avenue. I read the article 4 times. My hands were shaking by the 3rd time because the article mentioned that police had spoken to neighbors as part of their investigation, and one neighbor was quoted as saying he had noticed nothing unusual. A man named Gerald, same street, same gray 2-story house, same gray eyes that focused just past you. I should have left that night. I know that now. I stayed, and I kept watching. 3 weeks after I found the article, on a Wednesday night at exactly 11 p.m., I went to my window, moved to the side, stayed in shadow, and looked at his window. Empty. I blinked, looked again. Empty. No silhouette, no stillness, no Gerald. Just a dark window in a dark house on a quiet street. I didn't know whether to feel relieved or terrified. I chose terrified, and I was right to, because if Gerald wasn't at his window, then where was he? I stepped back from my window, hard hammering, telling myself to breathe, telling myself it meant nothing. People miss nights, people sleep early, people have lives that don't revolve around standing at windows in the dark. Then I heard it. A sound from downstairs. Not outside, inside, soft, careful. The sound of someone who did not want to be heard but couldn't quite manage silence. The sound of a footstep on my kitchen floor. I didn't move. I don't think I breathed. I stood in the center of my bedroom and I listened. As the footsteps moved slowly, deliberately, from the kitchen into the hallway and stopped directly outside my bedroom door. I could hear breathing now, slow, controlled, practiced, like someone who had done this before, many times before. I grabbed my phone, called emergency services, whispered my address. The operator told me to stay on the line, stay in the room. Help was coming. I stood there for what felt like hours. The breathing outside my door never stopped, never changed rhythm, just slow and patient and certain. Police arrived in 6 minutes. They searched the entire house. They found my back door wide open. The lock had been carefully removed. Not broken, removed. Like someone who had a tool made specifically for that lock. They found no one inside. But in my kitchen, on the floor, facing my hallway, were 2 muddy footprints, large, narrow, pointing toward my bedroom. Police knocked on Gerald's door that night. No answer. They returned in the morning. Still no answer. They made inquiries, and what they found made my blood run cold in a way I still feel on certain quiet nights. Gerald had no verifiable identity beyond 11 years ago. No records before that. No family they could locate. No employer. No history. He simply appeared on Whitmore Avenue 11 years ago, the same year Caroline Marsh went missing. They never found Gerald. His house was searched. I won't tell you everything they found inside. Some of it was never released to the public. What I will tell you is that in the upstairs room, the room with the window that faced my house, there was a chair, positioned perfectly in front of that window, and on the wall beside it, photographs, dozens of them. Every house on Whitmore Avenue, every neighbor, every window, including mine, including a photograph taken through my bedroom window of me sleeping. I don't live on Whitmore Avenue anymore. I don't think I could ever live on a quiet street again. But sometimes, in whatever place I'm in now, I find myself standing to the side of my window at night, hidden in shadow, checking. Old habits are hard to break, and some fears don't leave you just because you move. They follow you, patient, quiet, watching. Before I go, I need to ask you something, and I need you to think carefully before you answer. Do you know your neighbors? I mean, really know them. Not their names, not their faces, what they do when the lights go out. Tell me in the comments, have you ever felt watched inside your own home? That feeling on the back of your neck that says something isn't right. I read every single one. And our next story involves a road that appears on no map. 3 drivers took it. None of them arrived at their destination. Subscribe to The Dark Chronicles, because next week, we go somewhere you can't come back from. See you in the dark.